The Tuesday, December 20th meeting of the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners. My name is Deb Shore, serving as chair this year. To my left is our Vice Chair, Krista Yoakum, and to the far end, Commissioner Rick Vest, and on the other side, fellow Commissioners Roma Amundsen and John Flowerday. So if you'd please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, if you'd begin the agenda, please.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.nd.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on December 13th, 2022.
Move approval.
Second.
Comments or corrections? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Abstain.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention. Next is number 2, claims. 2A is approval of the claims process through December 20th, 2022. This needs to be amended to include the payroll ending on December 14th, 2022.
I would move approval of item 2A with the amendment to include payroll through December 14th, 2022.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is approval of the claim to the Mediation Center in the amount of $16,800.
I move approval. Second.
All right, motion and second to approve the claim to the Mediation Center. Call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Abstain.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 4 yes, 1 abstention. Next is number 3, special presentation. This is recognizing Deb Shore, County Commissioner, for 20 years of service to Lancaster County.
Mayor, it's an honor to have you here.
It's my honor to be here on this very special day. You got beautiful flowers.
From family, so.
I'm here to pile on and make it an officially special day. And I'd like to offer this proclamation in your honor, Commissioner Shore.
Thank you.
Whereas Commissioner Deb Shore was elected as Lancaster County Commissioner for District 3 in 2002, a role in which she has skillfully and steadily served her constituents and our greater community for 20 years. And whereas Commissioner Shore has compiled an outstanding record of service and accomplishments, including serving as president of the Nebraska Association of County Officials and being named to the Lincoln Journal-Star's Most Influential Women list. And whereas Commissioner Shore has been a true example of servant leadership, as someone who values compromise without compromising her values, and as someone who exemplifies stability, integrity, and dedication. And whereas her strong grasp of policy and expert management of priorities has led to, among other outcomes, significant improvements in public health, public safety, infrastructure, and economic development of Lancaster County. And whereas she's compiled this record of service as a loving wife to her husband of nearly 40 years, Mark, I saw him here, and as a devoted mother of 2 strong, smart daughters, Melissa and Allison, and as a proud grandmother and as a good friend to many across our community. And whereas I personally have had the privilege to experience firsthand the thoughtful and skilled leadership of Commissioner Shore in our collaborative efforts on the Joint Budget Committee, the Railroad Transportation Safety District, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, efforts on American Rescue Plan allocations, as well as on pandemic response and our work together on the Lincoln Community Foundation Board and Prosper Lincoln. And because I can attest that Lancaster County and the city of Lincoln are better places for having enjoyed the good fortune to have Commissioner Deb Shore at the helm of county government for 2 decades. Now, therefore, I, a somewhat sentimental and choked up Lyrian Gaylor Baird, Mayor of the City of Lincoln, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim December 20th, 2022 as Deb Shore Day in honor of her dedication to public service and serving our community with competence, compassion, empathy, kindness, and wisdom. It's Deb Shore Day.
Thank you so very much.
That was very nice.
It's very nice. I have a few words, and I don't know when it's appropriate, but I guess now is. So, okay. I am touched beyond words by today, but maybe I do have a few words. I told these guys 4 pages, so I'll read fast. 20 years is a long time, and I have to give a shout out to those who helped me begin on this journey. My friend, my mentor, and my role model, County Commissioner Kathy Campbell. And to the 4 men I served with for my first 8 years, Bernie Heyer, Bob Workman, Ray Stevens, and Larry Hopkins. Since 2003, technology has changed how we do things. We no longer print out lengthy agendas or even more lengthy contracts with numerous appendices. But we still sign documents after every county board meeting, thanks to the diligent work of the county clerk's office and the county attorney's office. Assuming we sign about 25 documents a week, sometimes more, sometimes less, I figure I've signed over 25,000 official documents. When you run for office, you think you have an idea of what the job will be, but county government is so much more than you ever knew. Lancaster County operates a railroad transportation safety district, a visitor promotion committee, a district energy corporation, a joint budget committee, a Lincoln-Lancaster County Justice Council, an emergency responders mutual aid association, amongst dozens of other community outreach opportunities. And I have been blessed to work with so many talented public servants in these roles, and I thank you for your friendship. Likewise, I've worked with many dedicated elected officials in 2 decades. 10 county board members, 2 assessors, 3 county attorneys, 3 county clerks, 2 county engineers, 1 sheriff, 3 county treasurers, 4 district court clerks, and 2 public defenders. Serving alongside each of you has been a pleasure. And there are several department directors that I've been honored to work with almost my entire career. Dennis Meyer, Kim Etherton, Brad Johnson, Dave Shively, Karen Wobig, Roger Feigard, Pat Lopez, Sarah Hoyle, Scott Etherton, David Carey, Karen Peterson, Brian Pillard, Sue Eckley, and Brent Meyer. Many of you are here today. Thank you. Seeing the work you do every day, serving the residents of Lancaster County, has been an inspiration to me. Okay. So what's left undone? Our 33rd project at 33rd Cornhusker project. Roger Feigard knows how much I would have liked to have seen a shovel in the ground on that. What was challenging during my term? Selling the county nursing home, Lancaster Manor, and turning the operations of the Lancaster Community Mental Health Center over to the nonprofit sector. Both were difficult decisions at the time, impacting employees, clients, and families. But looking back, I know it was the right decision. What has been a success? Building a new jail. The board knew at the time our community was growing, that the population would naturally increase for our inmates. Expending tax dollars for a large new facility was not popular at the time, but we did the right thing for our inmates and, more importantly, for our county employees. If you would have told me back then I'd become an expert in jail design, I never would have believed it. Pinnacle Bank Arena remains to me the most significant public investment our community has made. Lancaster County came out very early in support of the project prior to the community vote. We knew then what an impact that building and the surrounding development would have on tourism in Lincoln. Finally, just last week was the ribbon cutting for the South Beltway, a project that was over 25 years in the making. We now have a safer route for all of our South Lincoln commuters. Personally, a highlight for me, as the mayor mentioned, was being elected to serve as president of the Nebraska Association of County Officials. I was the first person elected to serve in that capacity from Douglas Lancaster, or Sarpy counties. For a girl who grew up in Omaha and has spent her entire professional career in Lincoln, I got to see parts of Nebraska I would never have experienced, and the opportunity to meet tremendous county officials across the state. NACO is a family, and love is not too strong of a word to say how we feel about each other. Before I take the time to thank my fellow board members, I want to thank our dedicated administrative team, Dave, Christy, Dennis, Sage, Ron, and Michaela. Knowing you will be in charge makes it easier for me to leave. We think we're in charge, but we're not. It's you guys. Things that I always hoped for, like the Leadership Academy and the county newsletter, will remain, thanks to your talent, dedication, and perseverance. And I don't know who to talk to about first, as this is where it gets hard for me. To Mark, you've been the most loving political spouse I could have asked for. Your love and support has been a blessing to me. To our girls, Alice and Melissa, seeing me serve as a county commissioner is what you've known most of your entire lives. Thank you for understanding the time commitments and pressures of this job and supporting me through it all. Finally, to Krista and Roma and Rick and Sean, you have made the past 4 years the most enjoyable of my career. We have many inside jokes, which I won't share here. We haven't always agreed, but compromise and honesty has been a hallmark of our time together. Our professional relationship and our personal friendship has touched my heart. I am confident the board will continue to provide excellent leadership into 2023 and beyond. It makes it easier for me to close out my time as a county commissioner, knowing you will still be sitting here in these chairs. And with that, I say thank you for the opportunity to serve the residents of Lancaster County for 20 years. It's been the honor of my lifetime. Thank you. Thank you. I will pull myself together as we continue with the agenda. Mr. Clerk, the consent items. Oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
No, just a reminder, there will be a reception at 11 a.m. for those who couldn't attend today, and a chance to express your appreciation for the service Deb has given.
Next are consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items for approval of amendments to the following county contracts. C-20-734 with No Wait Inside LLC for software the public can use while getting services at the County Treasurer's Office. C-19-346 with Zell LLC for professional leadership training services. Right-of-way contract with the estate of Sharon Lehman, South 134th Street and Pine Lake Road in the amount of $180. Utility permit number 2310 allowing Windstream Nebraska LLC to relocate existing fiber lines for project 2248 bridge replacement EO38 at no cost to the county.
Move approval of the consent items?
Second?
All right, motion is second. Call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 5, new business. 5A is a resolution in the matter of approving a public building commission project to purchase real property located at 826 H Street, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Good morning, John Ward with the Lancaster County Attorney's Office. I'll briefly note that I updated this resolution on Monday to add some language about the Public Building Commission acquiring property in the name of Lincoln and Lancaster County. That was a provision in the interlocal agreement that created the Public Building Commission, but we just made sure that it was very clear in the resolution.
Good morning, Commissioners. Karen Peterson, Director of Facilities and Property. By signing this resolution, we will go forward and purchase a piece of land that we've really had our eyes on for quite some time. And just for reference, it is the lot that is directly to the west or in behind the public defenders. This house It needs to be raised. It is currently boarded up by the current owner, and they are most eager and believe that the best use for this property is actually for our purposes. So what I would do would be build some additional surface parking, and I'd like to butt it up actually to what's already there with the public defenders. There's some design process that needs to go forward. So we've come up with looking at the appraised value of the surface lot that is across the street that was purchased and paved just a few years ago, and subtracting out the cost of the demo. I think we've arrived at a very fair price that is going to be that'll be the family is willing to take for that piece of land. So the next process has been through the city council. It'd be a purchase agreement drawn up by city law.
Okay. Wilma?
And I just think that this is a wonderful project, and it will certainly help us out, as we have probably noticed today that we do need more parking. And so, with that, I would move that we approve the resolution.
Second.
All right. Motion is second to approve the resolution. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 5B is a resolution, a matter of fixing salaries for elected elected officers, chief deputies for the 2023 calendar year effective for the pay period ending December 15, 2022, except as otherwise provided herein.
I am particularly proud of the resolution of this matter. As everyone knows, we interact with a number of elected officials. They have particular needs in their own departments. We had a situation here where a very specific item was needed to be addressed, and this resolution will allow flexibility for the elected officials involved and yet protect the board from future controversy. So I'm glad to move to approve this resolution.
Second.
All right. Motion is second to approve the resolution for salaries for chief deputies. Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. C is a contract with Jonas Enterprises, Inc. to provide the annual supply of sheriff uniform clothing and accessories.
Sheriff, do you have any comments? Is this the pink khaki?
Yeah, I was gonna say, really, all we wanna know is this the pink tan pants? That's all we really wanna know.
That's such a joke. Terry Wagner, Lancaster County Sheriff. We haven't got the statute changed yet to eliminate pink tan pants, but yeah, this is for our annual supply of sheriff's uniform clothing, and these are the only bidders. So the pool to acquire this color of clothing is really shrinking. So that's something we're going to probably have to work on next year. So.
A legislative priority? for
Sure,
2023?
put it on the list. Move approval.
Second.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. D is a contract with Lamps Clean Air Specialists to provide the annual supply of HVAC filters. The cost of the county is not to exceed $8,000.
I move approval.
Second.
Motion and second. Call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. E is a memorandum of understanding with HD Supply, Inc. for janitorial supplies and equipment. The estimated cost of the county is not to exceed $10,000.
I move approval.
Second.
All right. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. F is adoption of the 2023-2025 Lancaster County Strategic Plan.
Commissioner Amundson, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was one of the, that's, yes. This has been a long time in coming. It's been almost, we've talked about it for about 8 years. Deb, you and I have talked about it, and the others have come on, and you've heard me talk about this for a great time, for a long time. And I specifically remember that Christy Bauer was appointed to, when she was hired, this was one of her jobs that she had to get done. Is that right? And you did a marvelous job. And it was just really done very effectively, and we had so many people participate in this. You know, the elected officials, we had the department heads, we had community people, we had all of us. It was truly a community effort, and Christy, you and the Barry Dunn team really shepherded it along. So thank you so very much. And it is a really good plan, and it's one that we will follow up on with the Barry Dunn to make sure that we get all of our vision, our mission, and our goals accomplished. So, with that, I'm very excited to move approval of the plan, the strategic plan.
And I would just second that with the additional comment that a real perseverance of leadership on Roma's part, because we have so many priorities and it's easy to get tied up, and this wasn't a pressing, immediate problem that we often face, and yet it was a very real need. And so kudos to Roma for seeing it through, and Christy did a great job. The people we worked with were top-notch, and the consultation they did, giving everyone a chance to be a part of this, was second to none. Really grateful for the work that's done here, and glad to second this motion.
A strategic plan with a 5-headed executive is not an easy thing to accomplish, so this was a heavy lift. Way to go.
I'm very proud of the document and the guiding force that it will bring in future years. Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is number 6, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business, not on agenda, may do so this time.
All right, is there anyone wishing to make public comment? All right, I invite you to come forward. If you would sign in, please, and then state your name for the record. You'll have 5 minutes, and Megan will give you a reminder with 1 minute remaining. Okay.
My name is Connie Ranke. I have been working with the organization as a volunteer for the Nebraska Voter Accuracy Project, and there have been some concerns about the CTCL grant money that was spent, and I just want to read a couple of things. Wayne Benna said that the acceptance of this private funding by Lancaster County did not change how the 2020 election was conducted by the election commissioner. We have concerns. A lot of the money was said to be used by for personal protective equipment, and the Secretary of State has mentioned that also in comments. I have just a concern about the elections and that had undue influence on Lancaster County specifically. And there's a couple individuals and examples that I want to give to you. And one of those is Seth Kessel. He did an estimate that Lancaster County had excess votes, so there was a trend analysis done, and Lancaster County was one that had a big influence in the 2020 election, and his estimate was 8,000 votes for Lancaster County. There's another report that I will give you. This is someone that evaluated CTCL money across the nation, and he estimates, and he's done the reports in a lot of different states. He estimates that it affected 14,000 votes in Lancaster County, which was the only one that was way off trend, and it actually reversed the trend from as far as the Republican influence. I'm going to give you a handout that shows the vote reversal for Lancaster County. If every Democrat, every Libertarian, and 10,000 Republicans would be needed to get the 82,000 Biden votes that were reported in Lancaster County. I also am formally giving you a letter asking for the breakdown of the funds, and I will, I'll pass this out. One of the major costs or amounts that's been reported by Dave Shively is $266,000 for vote by mail absentee voting equipment and supplies. And so this grant went through in October, and then the election was in November, and we just like to have a breakdown. And I have about 6 questions of what organizations and distributions in more detail that was given to. So I'll pass these out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Connie. Yes, you can just pass those to the clerk and we'll get them distributed. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? Good morning.
Does this work?
Yes, if you want to lay an item on the Elmo, we'll bring it up on the screen.
It does take a minute to warm up.
Okay. If you sign in and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Dr. Susan Kess. I was here a couple of weeks ago. And I am a mathematician and physician, epidemiologist is what you call us. And I worked for the Center for Disease Control a number of years ago, and I met you guys a couple of weeks ago. And I had more information to share. In addition to the number of excess ballots that people received at their homes, there was also some other significant things. We saw patterns that large multifamily homes were getting a large number of people registered that were not living in those places. I personally actually went to a sorority, I went to a nursing home, and I went to a multifamily home that happened to have 10 kids. And what we found was there were names that had been on there. The sorority, for example, had the individuals that were the house mothers had been there, had not lived there for years and years and years. They were still on their registered rolls. So our registered rolls are we found them to be house after house be inaccurate. And what I can show from this, can you see it yet? Okay, great. Mm-hmm. What I want to show you is this is just one county, and we are going around to county to county to county, and we have, we think, another 3 more years before the statute of limitation runs out on fraud and obstruction of justice, because we believe there's without a shadow of a doubt, and all the work that's been done in Nebraska and across the country, that there are significant fraudulent actions that have happened in Nebraska. And one of those, are you able to hear me fine? And one of those is that there were 4,001, have you heard that there's 4,001 votes that are unaccounted for in Nebraska? And that represented, what we see here is when the registered voters goes above the population line, that's a red flag to a mathematician. There should not be more registered voters than actually are in that county. This is Lincoln County. But then you see in this particular county, one time here, And in other counties, multiple times, it crosses over the actual number of population. And so, I reported yesterday at in a hearing that there were eight significant crossing over of the number of people registered in that population. That was Saline County. And there were 4 times it crossed over the number of people that voted across the line of the number of people that lived in the population. And all of those across the entire state were all added up that crossed over the actual population. We had 4,001 actual votes that could not be accounted for. Where do those people come from, et cetera. And so the state told us that that is not an acceptable number to actually change the vote. But as a mathematician, those 4,001 actually represent a great deal more participants than the 4,001. Every time that a spike goes across the population line, here and here and here and here, that represents all of the population underneath that vote as well. And we only have an average of 65% participation rate across Nebraska, and last year that's believed it was as high as 75% of voters. So between 75% and that crossing the line at 100%, you've got 25% of voters in each of those categories that it crosses over this line is now unaccounted for, is outside the regular norm. And that happened multiple times. 1 minute? 1 minute. That happened multiple times across the state, and that comes to way more than 4,001. It comes to thousands and thousands of people. I've actually not done the math on how many it actually is, but there is a number that can be determined. This is alarming that we have this number of people that are voting that shouldn't be voting in our state, and it goes just along with the Zuckerbucks. Why would somebody from outside of our state put money in to our state to help us with our election? I believe we've had sources inside and outside our state and across the country that have absolutely made our elections fraudulent. We will not stop until the elections are addressed. And so I'm asking you, and I'm educating you and other people in this room that we need to wake up and realize that Nebraska's elections are no longer valid. Thousands and thousands of citizens have been coming forth and saying they're not open and honest and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kess. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment?
You can turn that off?
Yes, we will turn it off. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Laura Rauscher, and I hadn't really planned on coming here to speak this morning, but I've been taking some notes and thought I should, because I too didn't know if our last election was legal and fair, and that was the presidential election. I became aware that perhaps my vote didn't really count, and what really started me wondering about it is when I turned on every news station, I heard parroting. Everyone was saying the same words over and over. This is the most secure election ever. We can really trust our election, and it was over and over and over. And as I was flipping through the channels, the thought of our previous president, Obama, said, if you speak a lie often enough, the masses will believe it. And I went, are they trying to push an agenda on us? I just wasn't really aware of it, and I just didn't know how to go about how do you find the truth? If you think something's wrong, how do you go about it? And I mentioned that to an acquaintance who said, oh, did you hear that a Dr. Frank is coming to Lincoln, Nebraska? He's a nationally known speaker, and he has been investigating this. You might be interested, and gave me the date, time, the place, and I went. And when I went and I saw some of the graphs that he presented, and his statistical reasoning, I was shocked, honestly. We were raised to trust, right? We trust our policemen. We trust our officials. We trust that those that we vote for are doing our good, that they're watching out for us. And so that was a shocking thing to me. And at that meeting is where I met Connie for the first time. She too, a group of us got together in the back of the room. I hadn't met Connie before. I hadn't met any of these people before. And we started talking to each other, what do we do about it? Where do we go from here? And he had said, try canvassing. That is what they had found nationally. You knock on doors. And literally, my husband and I, with our white hair, went knocking on doors and asking, do you have 10 people living here? Because we had a list. Just anyone that had, multiple people living in a household or different last names in a household. And we knock on the doors and we'd say, we have this list that says 10 people live here and voted from this address. Is that true? And they'd go, no, my husband and I live here. We voted, but we don't have all those people here. And we would simply say, well, would you be willing to fill out an affidavit? It takes you about 5 minutes. And we would wait. Snow was on the ground when we started. We'd wait outside on the front porch while they filled out their affidavit in the house and bring it back to us. And that's how I became aware that it really isn't accurate. And that's a surprise. So I just would hope that you would continue questioning it, that you would look into it, that you would investigate it, and that you would protect us, the citizens that vote for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to provide public comment?
I just had my presentation to give to someone.
Oh, to Megan, right here. Thank you. That's very helpful.
I think my signature will be much easier to read this time. Last time I was... Okay, my name is Penny Stevens, and I live here in Lincoln. And I have come across information about how computers can get hacked and data breaches and all that kind of stuff. I've been working on computers for over 20 years, so I know my way around them. I'm very closely related to a computer programmer, so I'm often, diving in and finding out exactly, how that works and the codes and the language and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you know that there are several different systems that make up the whole voting that we have today. We have the registration, signature verification, mail-in ballots, drop boxes, voting machines, and voting tabulators. And at some point, each and every one of these becomes electronic. It's just how it is. Even the paper ballots, when they get scanned into the machines, they become electronic. So for a moment, think about your personal cell phone. You have those updates. You get that little red button on your screen for your apps and your cell phones. And it's asking you, they want to make changes in your personal computer. You trust whomever that they're going to make the right changes on your device. Do you read when Apple or, that long list of, or you just accept it? So when we do updates on our voting machines, a lot of people just take it for granted that this information is true and accurate because they're being told that it is. And usually the proprietors, the makers of the software or the hardware, are the ones that do the updates. And so we really should be concerned about that. For one reason, I did a search on voter database breaches, and I came up with 10 different websites for data breaks. You know, it was like Forbes, Reuters, Black Box Voting, just different geeky magazines. And it was really odd to find out that there was like no mainstream media that was reporting on database breaches. And once I dug into it, I was just floored when I found an article from UpGuard, and they are a cybersecurity network that works throughout the world. And back in 2017, they found a data breach that affected over 200 million registered voters. Now, to wrap your mind around that, we were told that there were 155 registered voters back in 2020. Okay, so more voters' information was hacked that even came out to vote. Now, this breach, they claim, is the largest in the U.S. history. This information that was breached, there was a time span when this was left open for 2 days that they are aware of. 2 days. People didn't even need a code to get into this. And this information that was hacked into belonged to the Republican National Committee. They had files in there from 2004, back when Bush was running. There was information back there, from all of the Republican candidates. So it was hacked. So what I want to say is the information that was breached was more than just Republican voters. People do data mining all the time. When you look at Facebook and Twitter and all these, they're constantly doing mining. Is that the end?
That is the end.
I really would like to speak on this a little bit further at some point because it is extremely interesting. And this is where the information can come from to create these crazy ballots and mail-ins and such. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And congratulations, Commissioner Shore, on your serving. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to make public comment? Our next item is executive session. Would you prefer to run through Board of Equalization? Do you have any preference on that?
Well, just take a recess from and do
Or-
Board of Equalization.
I guess we have everyone here for executive session, so we can just continue. Okay.
So,
All right.
because all we'll have to do is come back and
Okay.
read the announcements.
Okay.
Let's
Is there a motion?
get to the right page.
But before that, should we go ahead and do announcements?
Sure. Yeah, that would be fine. We'll read through the announcements.
You want to make
The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will be adjourned from Wednesday, December 21st, 2022 through Monday, January 2nd, 2023. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next early meeting on Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023 at 9 a.m. with the Board of Equalization meeting following in Room 112, the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV. Link TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. Link TV apps are also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV.
I move that we go into executive session for pending and potential litigation and legal advice and to protect the public interest at 9:45 a.m.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session for purposes of pending and potential litigation, legal advice, and to protect the public interest. Call the roll, please.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Best,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Approximately, would you say about 15 minutes? Is that a safe assumption? All right, then we will. Okay, are we ready? All right.
I move we come out of executive session at 10:04 a.m.
Second.
All right, motion and second to come out of executive session. Call the roll, please.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
Okay, motion and second to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
All right, we will now call to order the Lancaster County Board of Equalization meeting for Tuesday, December 20th. Mr. Clerk.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of their hearing room. Additionally, all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approve the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on Tuesday, December 6, 2022.
Move we approve.
Second.
All right, motion second to approve the minutes. Call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Move approval of the additions and deductions to the tax assessment rolls.
Second.
All right, motion is second to approve the additions and deductions. Call the roll.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is a notice of assessed valuation change for property taxation purposes. This includes Andrew and Kylie Brown, Jacob Torres and Garcia, Lucila Acosta, Jonathan Marlis Carabuas.
We are awaiting a member of the county assessor's office to discuss these changes, and here he is, Mr. Gaines.
Good morning. These are 3 areas that we're recommending valuation changes for. Item A is a construction that was partially complete and inadvertently went on at 100% complete, so this is getting it back to the partial value it should have had. The other 2 are mobile homes that were incorrectly activated for 2023 rather than 2022.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Is there a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the notices of assessed valuation changes.
Second.
All right. Motion is second to approve. Call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is a public hearing. This is motor vehicle tax exemption applications for Union College, Tabitha Inc., and Christa Ray Catholic Church of Lincoln.
All right. We will open this public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to provide comment or input on these motor vehicle tax exemption applications? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
Next is number 5, action on the following motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Move approval of the motor vehicle tax exemption applications.
Second.
All right. Motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Next is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to County Board of Equalization business, non-agenda may do so at this time.
Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? Seeing no one,
Move we adjourn.
Second.
no. Motion is second to adjourn. Call the roll.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Shore.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
We are adjourned. Thank you.